Welcome. You're listening to the Good Girls Don't podcast with Ashley Ray
and Verity Mansfield.
This is the podcast where we smash those rules that we've been taught to follow both as men and women and burn the damn rule book. We're tackling the big issues and the issues nobody wants to talk about, and we'll be fiercely feminist about it.
This podcast is about inspiration, education, compassion, and being the change that you need to see in this world. This podcast is for the trailblazers, the freedom fighters, and the soul igniters, and all the women just like you who are ready to break the good girl rules and be heard.
We acknowledge the traditional custodians of Australia and its First Nations people on which this podcast is produced and consumed. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging.
Get ready for the revolution. It's coming to you now. It's coming to you now. We're gonna sing it, revolution. And they'll never bring us down. No, they'll never bring us down.
Verity, I don't know about you, but there are a lot of times where I feel like I'm not enough. And I know that if I'm feeling that, there's going to be a lot of people listening to this who've also had days, maybe times like days or weeks, maybe months.
Years.
Yeah, years where we feel
Lifetime.
like we're not enough in some way. And one of the things that we want to do on this podcast is smash that rule, because it's a good girl rule. We are enough. And today we have a guest who has really helped smash that rule. So I want to introduce you to Shilpa Agarwal. I met Shilpa earlier in 2019 at the Artful Business Conference. She makes the best chai in all of Adelaide. Everybody loves it. But before we get into any of that, I want to tell you a bit more about Shilpa and why we brought her onto the podcast. Shilpa's a book writing coach who helps coaches, consultants, and spiritual wellness practitioners to write a book so they can share their story, make an impact, and create the business of their dreams with ease and confidence. Shilpa herself used to live a life of people pleasing, who hasn't done that before, hyper-vigilance, and constantly feeling not good enough, until one day she took back her power. She decided to own her worth, which is exactly what we're all about here on the Good Girls Don't podcast, and share her story so she could help many others out there do exactly the same thing. Thus, #Enoughness was born, which is now also a book in the making. She was born and raised in India. She now lives in Adelaide, Australia with her husband and their little Miss 3. When she's not telling stories of enoughness, you'll find her listening to one, reading one, or writing, or sipping chai, masala chai. And this was such a delicious interview, Verity. What did we get to talk about? What did we...
Oh, it really was. It was such a warm and fuzzy conversation, and quite a passionate one too, because it ties in so much about this whole idea about breaking the good girl rules and, validating ourselves instead of looking outside of ourselves for validation. And, she talked about this really beautiful, and I think this is so core to the conversation, that everyone wants visibility. Like, we all want to be seen, whether it's business, whether it's in our relationships, but no one wants to show up. We all keep hiding so many different ways because we don't think that we're enough. So this is such a gorgeous conversation, even looking at things like why we are our biggest sabotage and yet also our biggest salvation. She talked to us about her powerful 6S belief system and how it can be applied in any area of our lives, like just in order to step up and show up in our lives. We discussed about greatness isn't just something you suddenly arrive at, like in terms of success, but greatness is our, daily determination to show up consistently. We talked about why good girls should show off and why good girls should be their own authority. She made this really beautiful comment, that if you want to fight for your limitations, you will always get to keep them.
Oh my God, didn't that one hit you in the feels?
Yeah,
That got me too.
such a great quote. And, even more beautiful, like, get through this podcast and listen to it, devour it, because at the end, she's going to share with you her link, and it'll be in the show notes as well, where you can access her incredible and generous free offer. It is worth almost $500. It's her incredible free offer for you to be able to write your own book in 30 days. We are not kidding. She's literally said, just for our listeners, that she's throwing this in. So
I feel super special that we've got that.
We are super special. We're all super special. So devour it, love it. Jump onto her Facebook page, you know, and just support this incredible woman. And if you have been thinking about writing your own book, if you own a business and want to get more clarity about your story behind your business, like, take advantage of her offers. They're absolutely beautiful.
All that and more is coming up on the Good Girls Don't podcast. Stay tuned. Hey Verity, guess what?
I know what. We have an incredible human being that we're so excited to talk to. And it's actually about one of my favorite conversations.
And what would that be? Who would that be?
Her name is Shilpa, and I love what she has to say. And when she contacted us and was like, "Oh, I still want to talk to you," I was like, "Hell yes!" Because what she had to say was just so empowering, inspiring, and it's the stuff that feeds my soul.
Also, I hear that Shilpa makes some of the best chai in Adelaide.
Yeah, or maybe in the world.
I've heard people.
Wow, let's take that.
I've definitely heard people say that about your chai. So Shilpa, we are really, really excited to have you here. And okay, let's just get right into it because it's juicy, and I think we have a lot of questions to ask.
Yep.
So, okay, first of all, why do our stories matter, and why should we bother telling them? Why are they important?
Wow. I'd rather ask you this question. So, oh my God, where do I begin? Right? So we ourselves are our biggest sabotage, and we ourselves are our own salvation, right? We can be the sabotage or the salvation. The choice is with us.
I love that.
What would we rather be, right? And, these days I've started reading the Bhagavad Gita, which is, it has a religious connotation to it. But honestly, this book, I don't know if you've heard of the name, but the Bhagavad Gita is almost like the Hindu Bible, right?
Oh.
And this was it was a message which Lord Krishna, was kind of giving to Arjuna, one of his disciples, on a battlefield, because this guy who was like ready to fight, and he just before the war was about to start, he's like, I want to back out. This is not fair. I cannot kill my brethren. So, he was backing out from his karma. He was backing out from the call of duty. But that was too late. And that's where the Bhagavad Gita was narrated, basically, that, this is your duty right now. This is your dharma. Sorry for the side tracking, but that's where the concept of karma has been kind of maybe mentioned for the first time or something like that. And referring to karma, and for anyone who's doubting their story, I want to ask you, were you placed on the planet to judge yourself, criticize yourself, compare yourself to others, or were you placed on the planet to just independently be doing the thing?
Wow. And that is so true. We do. I think especially as women, and society almost grooms us to constantly criticize and judge ourselves.
Exactly. And, so this is the easiest definition and the understanding and application of karma that just landed on me last month. It's so recent. It's just every time I feel doubting myself, every time I think, oh, should I launch this? No, what will people think? All those other businesses, thinking of what everyone else will think.
Yeah.
I just ask myself this question, Shilpa, right now, You're on Facebook. Your job is to market yourself. Your job is to put yourself out there, to put your message out there and ask people if they want to work with you, right? It's none of your business to think what they're going to think. That's not your karma.
Yes. I
Right.
love that. And it's so funny because I've said that to, the people that I work with as well. It is none of your business to buy into or to obsess or to worry about what other people want.
Yeah.
Like your responsibility, you only have 3 responsibilities in this life, or 3 things you can be responsible over. And that is your thoughts, your words, and your actions. You can't
Absolutely.
take responsibility for anyone else's thoughts, for anybody else's words, or anyone else's actions. But that also
Exactly.
includes their reactions.
Yep.
And people react to things from their own bullshit or from their own past or their own past wounds that you've got no control over.
Yeah,
But we
yeah.
do. We totally buy into the fear of what other people think about us, and we make their business our business.
Yeah. And, like just because I started with the reference of the Bhagavad Gita, and I am actually reading the book, totally stripping away any religious, perceptions. Yeah. And because it's really just purely an inspirational, motivational text, right? Like same way for the Bible. Okay, so I lost my point.
That's okay.
No, but it's true, because there are all these really beautiful, like even if you look at the Bible, if you look at like Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology, Roman mythology, like there's so much wisdom embedded in them when we strip away those kind of institutionalized ideas. There's so much wisdom in there.
Absolutely. And so, just think about if there is something called a judgment day, right? Like, have you lived your life well enough? No one's going to ask you if you were perfect. Were you perfect? Did you check that thing? Did you audit it well? Like,
did you make that spelling mistake?
And, did you criticize, did you tear yourself down? Did you tear others down? It's not about that. It's about, did you inspire? Did you inspire and move people? That's all. Yeah.
There was I won't get this 100% right. We're talking about not being perfect, so that's great. But there's a really beautiful story that I heard about in Greek mythology, and how when they buried people, they used to say this little prayer, but it was all based upon did you love enough, and were you loved enough? They were the only 2 things that mattered.
And that
was that was all that mattered in your life, was did you love enough, and were you loved enough? And I think that is so beautiful as well. It really brings back, to basis the things we should be concerned about. How much did we love other people? How much did we serve the world? And we know when we do that, we receive, because you can't give and not receive.
Absolutely.
And also when we love other people, we're also loving us. And it was such a really, that kind of always sticks with me, like whenever I go into judgment. And I think it's something like, we talk about Judgment Day being, God might actually know when Judgment Day is, I don't know. But I think every day is Judgment Day for us. Like
every moment,
time
right?
we go on social media, it's Judgment Day. Every single time you open up Instagram, it's Judgment Day. Like we're constantly, every time you go to the movies and you see these like hot-bodied people, it's bloody Judgment Day. Every single time you walk past a magazine in a shop, it's Judgment Day.
Absolutely.
We're constantly surrounded by criticism and judgment.
Yeah.
Okay, I have questions.
Go for it.
I mean, these are beautiful and giving me all of the warm, fuzzy feels. But, okay, more of a statement than a question, I suppose. It sounds like a lot of what we're talking about is shame around perception. And I wonder how that ties together with our stories. Like, is that the reason that we're not sharing? Because we're ashamed of what other people think?
You know what? I think we are ashamed of not what other people think, but we are ashamed of what we think.
Yeah.
What do you think, Ashley? I mean,
That's a really good question. I wasn't expecting to have the tables turned on me.
I think it is one of those things where we go into shame out of the fear of judgment. We're so worried how people are going to judge us, and that sparks off our shame.
Yeah.
And then we go into shame ourselves. It becomes like a downward spiral. And the more we go into shame, the more we worry about how we're perceived outwardly. So the more we go into shame, and the less we stop, we're not telling our stories. We're not showing up.
Absolutely.
We're not,
You know what? You girls are literally talking such gold. I'm just going to put this out there and then we'll kind of keep the conversation going again. But there's this thing that I'm actually doing a masterclass a couple hours after our conversation now. And it's the 6S belief system, right?
Mhm.
So, can I just elaborate a bit on that?
Go for it.
So I had like 6 pages of notes for each of the S's, but I'm just going to cut it
It's a lot of
crisp.
notes.
Right. No, I mean one S for 1 page for each S, but I'm going to keep it really crisp here. So the first thing is, and again here we are talking in the context of enoughness, which we haven't mentioned yet, and really owning your worth and, what can I say, presenting yourself as the authority and owning your authority, basically, right? So yourself, that's the first thing that you have to believe in. Believe in yourself. Believe in your subject, which means, yes, there's going to be 10,000, even 1,000,000 people writing books on motherhood or yoga or fitness or massage or grief or all the things, right?
Yeah.
But does that make your story less? Again, referring back to karma.
Beautiful.
Your job is not to compare. Your job is to just keep creating independently, right?
Wow, I love that.
Yeah. And the third one, which I think that's what kind of excited me, is, the third S is service. Verity, you were just saying something about it's not, there was something you were saying, and I think I will listen back to it later.
I'm always saying stuff.
Right? But, service is really a beautiful dance of them and us, which means when it comes to sharing, what is it that we want to share? And remember, no second books or no third books were written before writing their first books, right?
Yeah.
No one said, hey guys, launching my second book, haven't done the first one
I
yet.
haven't done the first one.
So
I could definitely see myself doing that, actually.
yeah. So, and when it comes to service, again, like hoping and waiting to bring out the best book is more disservice, because you're waiting to achieve some perfect measure which does not exist, which means you're saying, I'm just going to keep doing these dramas and never bring anything good to the world, which means they miss out.
That is so
Right?
powerful. Yeah.
And who are we to deny the world our awesomeness?
Exactly.
And I think we had this conversation last week with Jay about this whole idea of, it is a disservice to people if we're not showing up, if we're not sharing our stories. Who's to say, how dare you say that somebody else doesn't need to hear your story? Like that person, you can...
Yeah, your job is not to judge and criticize yourself. Your job is not that.
So many people that do need to hear your stories, and you're doing a service by not sharing them.
Yeah. And, yes, and it's for a lot of people, it's hard to believe because they're really struggling with their self-esteem and their confidence.
Yeah.
But even when you can't believe in yourself, believe in someone else who believes in you, right?
Yeah.
At least believe that, believe in someone else who believes in you, and just ask anyone, what do you think of me? What's the value I add? Right?
I love that, because sometimes life does beat you down, and, we all have days where we feel like crap and like,
our mindset, our fears beat us down. I don't think life does.
Yeah. Well, we all have days, especially like I think sometimes we all have days where we wake up and we can't put our armor on for some reason. We can't put on we can't put our shields up. It's like it feels like the world is coming at you, and you don't have any protection for it. Yeah, you're tired. You might be stressed.
Resources.
Your self-care is like gone. and this is really awesome. And this is one of the things I do, is it's reminding yourself of all of the awesome stuff around you, the people that inspire you, the messages that get you going, that light that fire in your belly.
Yeah. And sometimes we just need to reach out for help and ask those people who know us the best, like, give me 6 things that you love about me, or, tell me what 6 things am I really good at? And just asking like 3 really good friends. And it's always amazing, because you always receive something back and you go, what?
People love me?
Yeah, people think that about me.
Think I'm great with money? Like, wow, like what? Explain it to me. And then you're like, oh my God, yeah, I do that. It's
absolutely. I don't know about you guys.
Asking for help.
I sit there and I literally just think about all the awesome things people say. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, how am I really good with this? And then I start pumping my own ego. And I start thinking about like, oh yeah, no, I am really good. Anyway.
I am amazing. So tell us, so far we've got
okay, so we've got the self and the subject and the service. I just wanted to present this important perspective about the subject, right? So you girls know what SOS stands for?
Save our souls.
Save our souls.
Right. Do you know what's another name? What's another elaboration for SOS?
Oh, I have heard one, but I can't for the life of me remember what it is.
It's the shiny object syndrome.
Okay, that wasn't it.
Right? And that is, constantly doubting yourself, thinking your book topic or, your subject or your niche isn't good enough, or just when it starts to get hard, just when you're about to start converting, making it a meaningful exercise for you, like just when the climb feels a bit too uphill, you're like, oh, no, I need to climb another mountain. This is not my mountain.
Yeah.
And that way you're just going to keep changing mountains, right?
And
so
it just makes us procrastinate as well, doesn't it? Like, never fully commit to ourselves.
Yeah, it puts you like in startup mode again and again and again. Like, why would you do that? Just take a subject, write about it, share about it, see the response you get, and give it your all for 90 days. Like, another metaphor about subject that I always share is, how would it be, you would be such a dangerous driver if you kept changing lanes on the road all the time. Right?
That sounds like me.
So, just give yourself a reasonable amount of time that I'm going to just stick to this lane and see where it takes me until I'm clear whether I want to go left or right.
I love that. And I love that 90 days, like having that set time frame to really commit to something. And we know that 90 days, I think they were saying 60 days or 30 to 60 days is enough to start changing a habit, but 90 days is when we hit that sweet spot of having almost wanting to challenge that change, and then letting our bodies go back into going along with the change and being no, this change is good and it's staying.
Yes. Amen.
Right. Amen. So, we've done 3, the self, the subject, and the service. And when it comes to service, and I remember now, Verity, you were saying, you were talking about showing up. And that was one thing I wanted to talk about as well.
So did we.
Yeah, greatness is not about, just suddenly arriving at greatness one fine day. It means showing up, even averagely, but showing up consistently. So I call it moderate consistency. You can be as average as you want to be, but like do it for the rest of your life. And if you keep just like, showing up every single day, there's just going to be overnight greatness.
I love this.
Yeah.
Be moderately consistent and slightly average and you will get there.
Yeah.
I love it. It's like, I feel like
it just takes the pressure off, right? Like,
I don't have to be the greatest.
Yeah, like, and so today is the 7th, right? Which means I am on the 99th day of Facebook lives in a row today.
Wow.
And I have learned so many lessons in this exercise. Like at 30 day, I revisited, like, how's the journey been? By day 16, I was like, Shilpa, you're mad. Why the hell did you commit to 365? I would keep doing calculations on my phone every day. 16 out of 365 is what
So
percentage.
you have committed to 365 live Facebook lives for a whole year, every single day showing up. Do you know, I've tried to do it for a whole month, and I did do it for a whole month, but yeah, there's some days you're like, yeah, I got nothing to say. I said it all yesterday.
And that happened to me as well. But, when that happened to me, I didn't want to break that streak. And I was like, so many days, I was so close to missing a day because it was a weekend. And I was like, I really cursed myself. Shilpa, what were you thinking? You didn't even exclude the weekends. When were you thinking of doing a video, And I've done a video at 11:30 just before hitting bed. And sometimes
11:59, she's on there.
Yeah. And sometimes I'm like, hey guys,
yet.
what's a great question you have? What would you like me to answer for you tomorrow? That's it. Bye-bye. But I did show up. Sometimes it was meaningless, but in the whole scheme of things, it has, even those rambling and putting my story out there, putting my content out there has helped me get so much clarity.
And I think sometimes we forget how many stories we have to share.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's amazing. I remember speaking to this guy, and we were talking about something. He's like, oh my God, I've just remembered something. And he was telling me this amazing story. And I said, wow, you were so full of stories. And he goes, I forgot about all of these. He's like, I've completely forgotten that I went and traveled some crazy country Laos and got lost in the hill tribes and nearly got shot. And, I forgot that I went. I'm like, how did you forget that?
Wow.
It's a wonder sometimes.
Sure. And it was hilarious listening to these, to people's stories, and they're like, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's come to S4. It's been right. So the fourth S is system, which means basically, I don't have to explain it. It's system. You can, so Einstein has said insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Or, the attempt to keep on reinventing the wheel.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Been invented already.
When you can just leverage what's already available, right?
Yes.
And yes, you might say that I want to innovate, I want to create, I want to be, expressive, but use your potential, your energy, your time, your resources for creating something over and above what's already available, right? The wheel was created, but then now there are high-tech wheels and, advanced wheels, right? So why would you just keep reinventing the same thing? Just take what's available and then, in the context of sharing your story, you don't have to, and why I'm saying this, because every other day I'm having a chat with someone who says, I've got a lot of random scribbles here or there, or I have a lot of journal notes, but I don't know how to package it into a book. So I say, why would you just start doing that same mistake when that mistake has been, there is a way not to do that mistake.
Yeah.
Where you're just, randomly dumping stuff and then you create overwhelm for yourself. So, because random scribbles locked away in a computer never inspired anyone. It did not, did not change any lives, did not, get any accolades, nothing.
It's at this point, I'm really glad you can't see all of the random Word documents I have.
Or maybe my super eyes can. Yeah. So, there's a lot of people, I think there's an element of trust and doubt over here, right? Because some people think they're so helpless that no one can help them. They are such a hopeless situation. They are in such a hopeless situation where no one can help them. Like, how can
Yeah.
someone put my book together? I don't think that's possible, so it's just, thinking better thoughts, choosing to think better, because it just fails me, because I've done that, I've done that pattern, not trusting that it's even possible.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time and energy trying to prove that the system doesn't work, right? And it did not work for me, because I was so hell-bent on proving
That's
that.
what you're trying to prove. Yeah.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Yeah. So, yeah. If you fight for your limitations, you get to keep it. But if you fight for your victory, guess what? You get to keep it too. So,
Yeah. I love that. It's so
yeah.
true.
Which is, so that's the fourth S, which you need to believe in a system, and then just commit to it and travel the entire distance through to completion. And now comes the fifth S, which is my favorite one, which is surprise.
Ooh.
Because anyone, after listening to the system, they might be like, oh, so you want me to be like an exact replica of everyone else, right? Or no. So follow the system and then add in your flavors. So especially I say surprise, because a lot of, again, it's such a cliche, a lot of coaches, a lot of struggling entrepreneurs, they're trying to tick the boxes of a checklist which was created by someone else, in the sense of, when will I be good enough? When will I be authority enough? When I've done 100
okay.
coaching sessions, when I've had 4 certifications, when I've 20 years of experience, when I've done 10 speaking gigs.
When I've reached this dollar figure, when I'm sitting on the beach with my laptop, getting sand in it and breaking it.
I know, right? And or the number of clients, or the number of years, or the certifications, or whatever, right? So people are trying to, hustle is a great thing. I love the energy and the vibe of the word hustle, but people are hustling, trying to prove their worth to someone who's not even looking,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is what Brene Brown talks about all the time. It's hustling for your worth, right?
Oh wow, okay. I've read her books, but I've not recently heard that clause. So yes, definitely.
Okay, Shilpa,
that.
you and I, we need to sit down and we need to just listen to these together, because I think we'll both cry our eyes out and bond over
Totally.
it.
Yeah. So, in terms of a metaphor just struck me, and I call it the express elevator. For your authority, stop taking the steps. It's good for your health, but for your authority, take the express elevator and just say, no, you know what? I am making a declaration. I am announcing to the world, I have arrived. Here I am. I'm willing to get noticed. I'm willing to be heard.
Yes.
You better hear me out.
Yeah.
That's a really powerful that's a powerful thing to do. I've done that recently, and it's drawing a line in the sand, and it's not even just verbally saying those words. It's when you sort of, everything comes together. So whether you believe in energy or not, it's like everything, your spiritual side has to come into alignment with how you feel, what you're thinking, and being like, yep, there's a line in the sand. And it is a really big shift all through your body, your mind, everything.
Yep.
And it feels really good.
Yeah, but it is one of those universal laws. We have to, the inside has to match the outside. There's no point putting on this fake persona when the inside you just feel like, oh my God, I'm such a fake. It's that thing of that they're both, the inside and the outside have to match.
Yep.
But in a really beautiful, authentic way. And so doing that work on the inside, believing in our stories, believing in the value we bring to the table, knowing that we do bring something to the table, knowing that we are here in a big way if we choose to be so. like you said as well before about combating those ideas of, negativity and, comparison and, judgment and shame, and just being like, do you know what, that is just my subconscious trying to keep me small and safe. But if I'm in here in a big way, if I want to create change, I can't live in a small protective space.
I love this. This is like the difference between, we have in our notes here, it's like the difference between owning our stories and being responsible for how and when and why we share them, and the story controlling and owning us.
Yeah.
Verity wrote that.
Wow. Okay. So what do you mean? What did you just say? Can you repeat that, please?
She was just saying, like, it's the difference between us owning our stories. So, like, we use our stories to inspire and to educate people, and like we bring out the wisdom. So we value ourselves from the wisdom of our stories and the lessons that we've had, compared to sitting with our stories and going, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed about that. Oh no, it's not good enough. Oh no, like no one wants to hear that. So our stories own us instead of us owning our story.
It's a very popular quote, which is, spread a lot about stuff, if you own a lot of stuff, your stuff owns you, like in the context of decluttering. So exactly that, like if you don't own your stories with pride, they're gonna own you with shame, like,
Wow.
So what's the 6S?
Oh yeah, so the 6th S is supreme, and this is where, like, I'm very comfortable using the word God, but for others it might be the divine or universe or natural powers, source, whatever, love, light,
Beyonce.
And I think it takes, just like it takes a village to raise a child, I think it takes a village to do anything. And we have to be willing and not ashamed of asking for help, whether it's asking God when you can't see anything and I'm like, God, help me please, or asking a real human who can help you, right? Because I really believe, that there is a superpower, there's a magician running this whole world, because the world's a stage.
There's no way, I'm 100% agree. There's something there. There's a high intelligence that runs through this whole universe, because there's things that we just don't understand, and there are so many things that when you look at it you go, holy crap, that is kind of magical. Like how did that get created? How did that happen? How does this whole thing work? Like even when you start looking at intuition and stuff, there's something beyond our grasp of our intelligence. It's a greater intelligence at work. And it's so important to be able to have that faith or that trust in life itself. And going, hey, like the world is not against me. The world is for me. It's my mindset that's against me. It's society, our collective mindset in terms of our society that can be against us and want to push us down. But that's still a mindset. It's not always, I mean, sometimes it is a real thing, but, it's up to us to break through that stuff and be like, no, like I'm showing up today. I have faith in myself. I trust the process.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, like when you just said that, trusting the process, and a little bit ago, you just also talked about, feeling like a fake. There's this thing that's going around, which is said, which goes like, fake it till you make it. And, some people, they get it wrongly. Like, faking your success is never gonna make it. Like, faking your income, faking your number of clients, faking the tangibles is the silliest sabotage you can do to your life and your business and your confidence, honestly. But when I have been on those videos, Verity, those 99 videos that I've done, there were so many days when there was no one watching me, and I was like, there's this inner self-talk. Like, I'm deep into teaching some concept, or sometimes something not very heavy, but still I'm deep into my life, and there's this parallel inner chatter going on, like, who do you think you are? You're such a fool. Why are you even doing this? No one's gonna watch you. People know you're gonna keep blabbering, ranting, waffling for the next 365 days. They have checked out of your Facebook page. All these things, and so I actually learned a lot of lessons through video about book writing, because as we are writing our chapter, our words, we, there's all these doubts and chatter that keeps coming up, but we just have to ask ourselves, can I allow others to decide? Like, can I not decide on their behalf how good or bad this is? Like, and am I willing to be judged, even if it turns out that it's crappy or not very required right now? Am I willing to be judged?
Am I willing to put myself out there? And I think that ties in so beautiful. Like, you've made the comment that everyone wants visibility, but at the same time, no one wants to show up.
Yeah.
We want to be visible. We want to be out there. But then it comes to the point and we, talk ourselves back off the cliff. We're like, oh, no. I mean, it's like, it's something that we want, but it's something that we're also in fear of and we keep walking away from. And, I guess just listening to you, that's why that consistency is so important, that we keep pushing past, the not showing up. So that we are showing up and we are being visible and we're kind of realizing, oh, hang on a second, this isn't actually so bad. Well, actually, this is kind of fun. Or, we start I remember doing this treetop climbing course a couple of months ago, and I've got a fear of heights. And I was up there with a 6-year-old child, a 7-year-old child, and a 12-year-old who also has the same fear of heights, being my daughter. And actually no, the 12-year-old at the point was on the ground and watching me up in the trees with this 6 and 7-year-old. And this 6 and 7-year-old are like storming it. They are racing from tree to tree, climbing ropes, all in midair with harnesses attached, jumping from tree to tree like being little Tarzans. And we do this massive rope course. And I am hyperventilating, going, who the hell thought this was a great idea? And my partner had a broken arm at the time, so he's on the ground. And I'm like, I hate you at this point. Like, you should be up here.
Yeah.
And my 12-year-old is like going, Mom, get to the next tree. Just pretend there's a bowl of wine in the next tree. Get to the next tree and you can pretend to have that bowl of wine. And I'm like,
I love that she used wine.
Like
she knows you really well.
Everyone in the forest is hearing this. Like, I'm not an alcoholic. Live. And I had so much fear, and I'm telling myself, this is ridiculous. This is stupid. Who would do this? This is horrible. This is not fun. This is torture. Why would I do this to myself? Why would I put myself in such a dangerous position? Even though attached, with a harness. And then you can't get off the tree course. You've got to keep going. There's no way to get down but at the end of the course. And so I finally got to the next tree, and then I did the next one and got to the next tree, and did the next one and got to the next tree. And suddenly I found that fear, that critical voice in my head got boring. And I was like, same old story. Like, just shut up. Let me just do this. And then all of a sudden, this is fun. Oh, my God, I'm in the trees. Oh, the air is so fresh up here. Oh, my God, I just did that. Oh, wow, this is, like, kind of exhilarating. Oh, my God, I'm flying fox. I'm flying through the air. And it was, like, pushing, like, showing up consistently because I didn't have a choice. I was attached to a rope in
exactly.
The sky.
So even about my videos, I didn't have a choice. I was on the live. I could not back out then. Like, it was too late, Like, fake it. Right now, fake it. That's where faking till you make it.
But that consistency that you talked about, and that is not fake in terms of your showing up to your authentic self. And it's actually our fears that are fake. So once we can prove that it's not us who are fake, but our fears are fake, it flips the whole thing around.
Yeah. This, I was just gonna say, as you were talking about, your tree climbing experience, and sometimes, we are not able to find our trust inside ourselves. Like when we look inside, all we can see is doubt and fear.
Yeah.
Right? But in such moments, can we just trust that if some magical superpower has placed us in this situation, placed us on the planet, sent us, go live a life and come back, can we trust that they have given us all the resources? Like they have packed us well, they have packed our bags for this vacation very, very well. We have everything, yeah, it's hard to believe, but basically it gets a bit vague, like, okay, yeah, trust and surrender, and then what? I'm still feeling miserable. But trust and surrender and act, because I've been having some great conversations with a friend recently, and we discussed that surrendering is not giving up. Surrendering is detachment to the outcome. It's it's detaching and then saying, okay, like right now, I don't know what's coming out of this, but I've made a commitment. I'm going to show up on my video. I'm going to share my story. I'm going to write this chapter, no matter what, like.
Could not have said it better. That's exactly what surrender is.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And that is that thing, isn't it? Like there's so many times we, might buy into something and it becomes overwhelming and we're like, oh my goodness, like why am I doing this? And if we can detach from, and then we go into, I better have the results by this week. I better have this done by this week. And we put all of this burden on ourselves and this pressure instead of like, you know what, I'm here, I've committed. So each day I'm going to show up to my absolute best. I'm going to let go of the outcome, and I'm just going to wait and see if something even more magical turns up. Like, even when we have relationships or we have a business, like all different areas of our lives, we'll have this idea of what we think we want. And if we're so focused on the outcome, we end up going through life with blinkers on and missing out on possibly better, easier opportunities with like more gold in them, more beautiful relationships than maybe the one we're settling for, because no, we've made a decision that one outcome is the only one that's acceptable. And yet who are we? Like we're these people that are full of fear. We're probably not in the best decision or the best position to know that one decision is the best decision for us.
Oh my God. Are you basically saying that this is the equivalent of drunk driving? Like if you're drunk, you shouldn't be driving. If you're frightened, you shouldn't be making decisions.
No, what I'm saying is like, okay, let's say put drunk driving into it. You're like, I've got to get home, so I'm going to drunk drive till I get home. Well, actually, why don't you just, instead of having that one outcome, why not actually tap into yourself, go, look, I'm here, my commitment is to be safe. Like that is my goal, is to feel safe or to get to a place I'm safe. And then suddenly you bypass your friend's house. You're like, oh, great, I can actually stop now. I can actually find a safe place now. Absolutely. Instead of going, no, it was home, like halfway across the state. That's the goal. Do you know what I mean? Like you can miss out on so much if we have this singular focus, instead of, like Shilpa's saying, to have this beautiful sense of surrender and going, okay, like I set my intention, I'm going to show up the best. And if you're drunk driving, you're not showing up the best, so just pull over immediately, because that is the safest place for you, in a stopped car on the side of the road.
Absolutely.
Or the nearest police station.
That covers us legally.
No, it's just sensibility, right? So having that surrender and just being open to receiving all the magic that comes along when you're showing the best.
That is awesome.
Yes, everything, all of that.
Hashtag what she said.
What she said. Yeah.
Oh, so tell us a bit more about this enoughness. Like, what does enoughness mean for you, and how can we start owning our stories? How can we start owning our enoughness?
And showing up.
Right. So how can we start owning our enoughness is all the things that we just discussed, right? Like, so, how enoughness came into my life one day was, I just wanted to go for a jog. It was like a beautiful autumn day, and I knew the winter is not far and the sun's not gonna come out that much. And there was this voice inside of me which was just constantly telling me that if I went for the run right now, people will know, people will think I'm not serious about my business, because which serious business owner who's really serious about her business goes for a run at 10 in the morning, if I was yeah, so I was just like judging myself, criticizing myself, tearing myself down, like, yeah, you didn't wake up at 6 and go for a run, how bad, like, and then
I think that is one empowered entrepreneur who can make that free
I know,
decision to go for a
right?
run when they want to.
And it took me 2 days to arrive at that clarity. Like, there was this constant turmoil inside of me, and I told my husband, I'm like, Aki, I'm going for a run. He's like, yeah, fine. I'm like, what? He didn't stop me? I wanted him to stop me, right? Because I want hardships in my life, and if there aren't any, I will create them for myself, right?
Oh, good.
So, right? I mean, we do this all the time, right?
We really do.
And I'm like, he did not stop me. Okay, which means I have to go. Then the next excuse was, no, but my daughter's at childcare, so this is the time where I'm supposed to be making dollars. So, let her come back. And I just told my husband, no, you know what? I'll wait. And when Arya comes back from school, I'll just go for a bit of a jog with her. And that day it never happened. She came back and she was somehow so tired, she just kind of went off to a nap directly. So I was like, look, it couldn't happen. She napped, right? So the next morning, again, there was this urge, like something was, like, of course, this message was trying to land on me and trying to wake me up to my senses. Hello, Shilpa, wake up. What's happening? Answer the call. So anyways, finally, it took me around 11 a.m. the next day where I was like, enough is enough, Aki, I'm going. I was like, yeah, you were going yesterday. And then when I came back from the run, a whole stream of thoughts started pouring out of me. And that's where, I just wrote Enoughness. I was like, yeah, enoughness is you. You are enough, whether you're, tall, short, you have a story, you don't have a story, you are, whichever religion, whichever country, whichever business, how many ever children, divorced, single, married, all the criteria that we judge ourselves by. I just felt so much compassion for the whole world and for myself in that moment.
Yeah.
After giving myself that permission, because I could not give myself the permission to just go for a run for 2 days. So that's how Enoughness was born, and I'm writing a book on that. But
it is those things, though, isn't it, as well, Shilpa? It's the little things that we keep denying ourselves. It's those little things, like, it's not like it's the decision about whether to give someone, your kidney, but those, the little things that, like, going for the run or just doing the things that our soul is craving. Exactly, and we're like, oh, no. Oh, no.
This is what real worth is about, right?
Yeah.
And that's when it struck me. I was like, if I cannot give myself the permission to go for a run at 10, I might as well work for a boss who treats me like a slave. I might as well work for someone else, because then I'll be fitting in the box at least, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we've been told, though, isn't it? That's the fake stories we've been sold.
Yeah.
That you have to live life this way, you can't do this, you can't do this, you should do this. Yep. And it's like, oh my God, I mean, we need to shake those fake stories off and own our own story.
Oh my gosh.
And that's how, like, in the work that I do, I've been doing this book writing thing for nearly somewhere between 4 to 5 years now. But with the, landing of Enoughness, it all got a whole new foundation, where I was like, yes, I'm doing the book writing business, but it is so that people can, have a vehicle to own their worth.
Yeah.
Right? Through their stories, through their stories. And I was actually writing some fun stuff in the context of this podcast, right? So you all call yourself Good Girls Don't. Right? And I was like, what do good girls not do? Which is, they're all like sarcastic ones, right? So good girls don't show off. They don't make noise. They don't brag about themselves. They don't break the rules. They don't be authoritative. They don't disappoint others. They don't share boring stories because my story is boring. Everyone else is exciting.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, so
And, good girls don't talk about themselves.
That's
We're so
what, yeah.
taught since we were little, don't talk
Yeah.
about yourself, or you
Yeah.
up yourself. And my favorite one, sarcastically, is, the good girl does not love herself. Oh, my God, you love yourself. She loves herself.
Totally.
It's like, no, you should love yourself. Like,
Yeah,
what? Why are you being shamed for loving yourself? If a guy stands up and he's like, yeah, and I've watched little boys, especially the last few years, and they puff their chests out and they race around and they tell the world that they're the best and I'm the strongest and I'm the smartest and you can't defeat me. And we're all like, yeah, that's boys. And a little girl does it and we're like, hey, babe, don't, that's a little bit rude. No,
Yeah.
no, you're boasting. Don't boast. It's actually really rude to brag. You're sounding really obnoxious. We don't say that to the boys. We let these little boys run around with their imaginary superhero capes on, puffing up their chest and screaming at the world that they own this world. And little girls were like, no, just sit pretty in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, and I love that because this so fits into what you're talking about, Shilpa, this whole concept of owning our stories, owning our enoughness, knowing that we belong here, knowing that we have something to say and to roar that, whether you do it showing up on Facebook Live, whether you do it by writing a book, it's so important.
You're given a position. It's like a playground, right? Think about this as a big football playground and everyone has a role, like everyone, right?
Yeah.
What if the goalkeeper just checks out? If the goalkeeper says, well, I'm not important, there's like 10,000 people on the field, guess what happens to their team, right? They lose. So you might not be able to see the bigger picture because you're not up in the sky to see that big picture. But, just know that God has a plan and He put you on the planet. Like, I hope this is not sounding religious, but I don't care if I offend anyone, really. Like, we're on the Good Girls
you break
Don't
those good girls.
You break
know,
it.
right?
Smash it to smithereens.
Yeah.
You own your story, Shilpa.
Totally. So I think I've done this a lot, because I'm very comfortable with the word God. Like, I've always, I've explained myself a lot,
Yeah, I don't think we need to explain ourselves. If you're not comfortable with word God, then choose another word.
Yeah, exactly.
This hang up is just ridiculous. Like, I don't believe in churches. I won't go to a church. I don't believe in institutions, but I do believe in God. I have my own ideas about it.
So religion is different from spirituality. And
exactly.
I think I explained that a lot. So this is the last time I'm doing it, ladies. Done. Done.
I will not explain myself again.
Yeah.
Love it.
But I love that analogy about the football field. And, I remember growing up thinking if I could change one person's life, my life would be worthy. And then now, like, doing coaching, I have helped so many women transform their lives and their relationships. And then I've watched them go forward and, go and change 10 people's lives. And then someone that their change is going to go forward and change someone else's life. Like, we all have a part to play, and we might feel like we're just a ripple, but that ripple, like, you throw a stone in the river, that ripple, like, maybe the stone just makes one impact.
Yeah.
But the ripple effects, ripple upon ripple upon ripple, and it spreads out.
I know. Right?
And we don't understand that. All we're focusing on is, I'm a stone and I've made one impact. And it's like, but you don't get the ripple effect of that impact.
Yeah, totally. And, again, talking about the ripple effect, you might think, well, I'm just helping a mom get less stressed, right? And she might not be a coach. She might not be the one who's working with like hundreds of clients and directly impacting lives that way. But if she can spend one day not, screaming at her child and being calm about their behavior and talking, like addressing her child with love and care and concern and being a little bit more chill about her parenting,
Yeah.
then she has affected. So, like
Yes.
people can be just everyday people.
Everyday people. It's
And-
the people that we serve, isn't it? Like it doesn't just have to be a business and client. Like everyone we come into contact with, we can see everyone as a client. I could look at my dog who's asleep next to me and be like, yeah, he's totally my client. And do you know what? I'm his client too.
Totally. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
My mind is, as always with these interviews being blown, and I feel like there is so much gold here that you've shared that is just, it's going to take me a while to process.
Oh, I think it's,
Oh, you've got a while.
Thank you.
I've got time. I've got plenty of time for this.
We re-listen to these episodes before we release them. So,
Oh, awesome.
Exactly. And I listen to them like 100 times when I'm in the editing process. So I'll be digging, I'll be mining it for a while.
Yep.
But yeah, they are so beautiful. And I just love what we've been talking about. I think it's so important for all women to be able to embrace their enoughness. And when we do that, everyone around us notices. It affects our relationships with our partners, our relationships with our children, our relationships within our family, our extended family, our friends, our work colleagues, clients, if you have clients, it is a ripple effect, our enoughness. And then other people, they want a part of that enoughness and they step up.
Absolutely.
It's such an important conversation.
And, while we are at it, just like, in closing, I know we are about to wrap up. I want to, just share this very simple metaphor. Like, I just want to throw in so many metaphors that people can remember something and just pull it out in times of need, really. Now, think about simple geometry, right? You were placed on the planet, not like, imagine if you were a point, right? You were not told that, okay, hey, point, now go on the planet and live with reference to that other point, right? You were told that, okay, you're a point, now go wild, right? You can go in any direction you want. You can do whatever you want. But, in business, and I think a lot of our listeners, your listeners, are going to be entrepreneurs and coaches and, business owners. So, the things that we allow to hold us back are comparing ourselves with what the other person is doing.
Yeah.
So what I am doing, is that good enough, or is that right, or is that wrong, or but they are on their wild journey, and here you are making it all about comparing with them. So
it's so true. And I think that's where your beautiful concept of surprise comes in, like adding your own flavor. Even if you're following someone else's thing, like you should know what you bring to the table, or find out what it is you bring to the table and add your flavor to it. Like make things your own. And as you're going through the world learning things, even being able to sit with things and go, okay, does that really fit for me? Does that work for me? Do I feel good about that? Does my soul light up, or do I contract away from that? How can I bring my own flavor in, even by just doing that and going, yeah, that totally works for me. Yeah, cool. That's now part of my flavor. I love it. I've loved everything that we've talked about. So can you also just share with us then about what's your new program that you're doing?
Right. So this is so new. No one has heard about it. So you guys are the first ones. Yay! So August is my birthday month, which is when we're recording this episode. And August is also my business birthday month. And that's why on my Facebook page, this entire month, I have started a 30-day series which is like my like a free course, 100% free book writing coaching course, right? It's a
Wow.
30-day. Yeah, you can just like watch those videos, and I promise you, if you just do those steps, your book will be done. That's a 30-day step, that I'm doing. It's called Actionable August. And for anyone else who would, anyone who would like to work with me one-on-one and, really need the support, the accountability, the bouncing of ideas, I'm launching this thing called Book Camp, like a boot camp,
Ooh, book
but it's
camp.
a book camp.
I
Right?
love it.
Love
Where-
that.
Yeah, so where we will get your book written one-on-one within 30 days, using the exact same formula that I've laid out
That's
on
brilliant.
Facebook. Yeah, so if you would like to, just get on a chat with me and see how you can join the book camp. Can I talk about the link now, or would it be in the show
We'll
notes?
put the link in the
So,
notes as well.
yeah, I will just spell it out. The link is bit.ly, bit.ly /book biz blueprint. So BOOK BIZ BLUEPRINT.
And all of that will
Beautiful.
be in the show notes too, guys, if you want to check that out.
Yes. Thank you.
Or pop over to Shilpa's Facebook page and watch her lives.
Oh, you can do
Tune
that.
in, ask her
Yes. So,
questions.
yeah. So this book-based blueprint is basically we mapping out how your book can actually help grow your business and create a strategy that brings all the loose chunks of your business together in one cohesive plan, and how your book fits into the business scheme of things. And this session is worth $497, but for listeners of this podcast, I want to offer this to you for free. That's my gift.
That is amazing gift.
That is
incredible.
amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you.
Very
Oh,
much.
Such a pleasure.
So yeah, definitely. If you're listening, please stalk Shilpa out. Jump onto her Facebook page. Shilpa, what is the name of your Facebook page? How can we find you there?
Yeah, just search in one word, Shilpa Book Coach. Just
Shilpa
combined.
Book Coach. There you go.
Yep.
And that link will be in the show notes as well. So if you want to check that out, please do.
Yeah.
Please do.
And stalk her. She's also on Instagram, also at Shilpa Book Coach. And
That's right.
She has a website, www.wantsolutionthebook.com. So
That's
you can
right.
find her in a number of places and, learn how to embrace your own story and become empowered by what you have to give to this world.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Shilpa.
Thank you.
Such a pleasure. Thank you for having me, girls.
You're more than welcome. Hey, if you want to continue this conversation, head over to our Facebook page and be part of the revolution. You can find us at Good Girls Don't Podcast on Facebook. Please note we cannot create change alone. Your support, likes, comments, shares, and iTunes reviews help us to give a voice to the insanely inspirational women and the controversial issues that we discuss.
If you'd like to be a part of our podcast, or if you have an issue that you have a burning desire for us to bring into the light, please contact us. With fierceness, Ashley
And Verity.
Get ready for the rain.